Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a best-of-3 series of Terran versus Zerg, and I've got a feeling that this is going to be a very interesting match because both of these guys, they like to play this game very aggressively. So spawning right here in game number 1 in the top right hand corner of the map, Royal Blood, already opening up with 2 barracks on the low ground. We're looking inside of the main base of the GuMiho. His opponent in the opposite corner, going for a spawning pool first, then eventually a hatchery. You know him, you love him, he's from South Korea as well. He goes by the name of Dark. Alrighty, so Dark facing off against GuMiho in a best-of-3 series. This was recently played during one of the KSL tournaments, so I've got a feeling this is going to be a very fun match, because both of these guys, they like to be in the opponent's face. Although there is always a moment where Dark is like, okay, all of my early game aggression horribly failed. This is the moment where I'm going to make a round of roaches, I'm going to make 2 infestors, and then I'm going to do a whole lot of nothing. I'll just try and defend whatever you're ready to throw at me, and yeah, sometimes because of that, the games do tend to go to distance, but usually early on, Dark doesn't mind being a little bit aggressive. Now, that being said, against a double barrack start, a pool first is nice. If you can get yourself link speed done as well. Link speed is honestly what is the pivotal upgrade here to defend against this early game shenanigans. So at this point he sees, okay, it's going to be that triple Reaper start, the build that we've been seeing a lot over the last couple of months. This is a strategy that Byun has really popularized in the Korean scene, and well, apparently GuMiho is now also playing it. In my mind, GuMiho is still very much so a mech Terran, even though he barely plays mech these days. He used to play mech before it was cool, and then it became cool, and GuMiho is like, okay, fine, if everybody's playing it, then I'm no longer pulling it off. It's kind of interesting. Anyways, he definitely doesn't mind playing this game a little bit more aggressively than the average Terran, but yeah, these links here, they're just parked in the top left-hand corner. GuMiho a little bit concerned as well because he hasn't seen anything, so maybe he's putting his opponent on like a roach opener now. He saw that this was a pool first. He hasn't seen any links on the side of the Zerg because the links are reverse parked over here in the top left hand corner, man. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe against like a different start here, those links would have been able to achieve something. Maybe if we would have noticed here with the Overlord that the depot was down. Maybe if the Marines get a little bit overly adventurous. Yeah, he's baiting them away. Okay, GuMiho is not gonna take the bait though. Wonderful play. He was baiting those Marines away from the safety of that Terran base with that Overlord misposition. Or misposition. There you go, Lowko. Words are hard sometimes. Anyways, link speed eventually does finish up. Good control right there. Now a bunch of links suddenly show up. Where were those all this time? Must be what GuMiho is wondering about right now. The Reapers are thinking about going to the low ground, but eventually, everybody's going to die. Sad day to be a Reaper. In the end though, they did end up killing 2 lings, and I guess they slowed down the Zerg player a little bit. But Dark already slowed himself down right before that, making all those Zerglings, which really could have been drones. So yeah, in the end, clean defense right there by Dark, with a little asterisk right next to it. And that's honestly a theme in Dark's early game, right? Clean for the most part, with a little asterisk right next to it. 4-minute Roach Warren over here. Okay. So, we'll have to see if this is gonna be a defense. No, it's not. Okay. I was gonna say, he could definitely just make like 5 roaches and then sit there defensively. But with 2 additional gases already coming up, I mean, this could certainly still be him just making like 4 roaches and then sitting back and, I don't know, teching up. Could be because of the fact that his... he's blocking the reactor. Could be because of the fact that his third hatchery here is a little bit late, that he's like, okay, I may as well take the gases. But I've got a feeling, especially with now 3 Overlords coming up, that Dark wants to make a whole lot of roaches. I actually think 3 Overlords is a bit too much. He probably should have made 2. But anyways, that is Dark again as well, right? Now he's gonna have, yeah, way more supply available than he really needs, which means he could have made more roaches. Anyways, a large round of roaches coming up. Marine drop in the main base as well. That medevac taking a lot of damage. Losing the medevac may actually be losing the game. Don't lose that one. Okay, he does sneak it away. Queens did not have enough space right there off creep to really get in position. GuMiho is gonna need every unit he can afford right now. So he sees 3 roaches, but there's a whole lot more on the back of this. Are we gonna go for a link flood as well? No, we're doing a drone follow-up. So Dark committing to early game aggression, then committing to more early game aggression, but then eventually he does back off. But with this much gas, exactly, he can start making Ravagers. Now, Ravagers take 3 corrosive biles to kill a siege tank, a liberator, a banshee, basically all of the important units that could be available at this point in time right here for the Terran. And at this point, okay, well, maybe the Zerglings can get sniped over here. Not even going to happen. At this point, GuMiho is actually in quite a bit of trouble. He doesn't have that many units available to defend at home. Even the Stimpeg research going down right now really sucks, because, you know, Metabolic Boost may be the pivotal upgrade for the early game of Zerg. Stimpeg really is so critical for Terran. Then again, though, this is a major commitment from the Zerg, and so far, he hasn't really killed anything. Like, he's killed, yeah, sure, a couple upgrades, maybe a Hellion or 2, but no SCVs just yet. He's actually following it up with more links right now, which is really interesting. I guess since he's seen those barracks fly away, he's like, okay, there must not be a whole lot of production. Siege tank on the high ground, though, makes all of this so much harder. Lovely position right there by Gumi. I also really do like the liberators from him. Okay, he's gonna try and just keep alive whatever he can. We do have a repair right there on the bunker, but supply depot is gonna burn down here eventually, I believe. Yep, there we go. Okay. So GuMiho trying to stabilize here, and I don't really see exactly how Zerg is going to break through this. We did have the Hellions drive by over at the third base, but only a single worker was killed, and that worker was killed by Dark, so no real damage here done by our Terran. Okay, so Stimpeg starts up again. We're gonna go for barracks number... Did he lose a barracks? No, okay. So anyways, we're gonna go for additional barracks over here. Ah, he's got 3 more building right now inside of the main base, which is a little bit funky. He is going straight up to 8 barracks production right now. That is gonna be a whole lot of production here for our Terran player in blue. That being said, if it's up to Dark, he wants to end this game right here, right now. He realizes that, yeah, all he needs is high ground vision right now to get rid of these siege tanks. Bile's not in the perfect position, but both of the tanks eventually still go down, and he just straight up wins the game. Next up, Gresvan. Now, I don't believe that early game was particularly efficient by Dark. I don't think it really went particularly well for him. But I guess at some point, right, he was making roaches and then he decided to go for the attack. He was droning behind it. He sniped his opponent's tech lab, right? So he sniped the upgrade before it was done. And I think he just realized at that point, okay, if I just flood the map right now with more Zerglings and I'm morphing even more Ravagers, what exactly are you going to do? Turns out, well, not a whole lot. GuMiho trying his very best to, yeah, transition away from that. But without Stimpeg, those Marines and Marauders just don't really pack a punch. Anyhow, once again, a low ground wall right here for the Terran. Once again, a spawning pool right here first for Dark. Alrighty, so Dark once again looking to speedrun this. I mean, previously the pool first didn't really achieve a whole lot. Oftentimes when I see him playing a pool first lately, it's a really quick Roach Warren on the back of it as well, right? So there are definitely some follow-ups that would be more terrifying than the one that Dark actually went for in the previous game. Maybe that's why he played that building game 1 though. If he actually goes for a different follow-up this time around, and he's almost like baiting GuMiho into a false sense of security, and GuMiho decides to skip the bunker that he did make in the previous game because he's like, ah, I've seen this in the previous game too, maybe this is just what Dark has been experimenting with. There is a chance that an actual aggressive follow-up would work again for Dark. Anyways, double barracks over here. No third Rex or anything like that inside of the main base, so GuMiho just opening up with 3 Reapers once again. 6 Zerglings coming up, and this is what I'm talking about, yeah. Roach Warren right now on the back of this. Okay, so we have a Queen, we've got 6 links, and now we just have a quick Roach Warren as well, just to lay down a little bit of pressure on the other side of the map. This is actually a neat build for Zerg players, in case you're... Well, I know a lot of you don't necessarily play a whole lot of 1v1 ladder, but if you are playing a lot of 1v1 ladder and you're not actually just watching games, I do recommend giving this build order a try, actually. It's very strong. So it's good against early game cheeses from Terran. It's good against the double barracks opener, but it's also pretty strong against just a normal, although this has kind of become the new normal, I suppose. But yeah, it's also good against a normal 1-1-1 start from Terran, be it with like a third command center really quickly or whatever. You can get some pressure down on the other side of the map. So anyways, 3 roaches are coming up. GuMiho scouts the same thing as he did in the previous game, although he doesn't know that there's a Roach Warren already down together with drones that are still mining gas. So is he gonna go for the bunker? If he doesn't go for the bunker, he could actually be in a lot of trouble. Although that being said, yeah, now he sees a roach. I think he could start it up right now and still be okay. Problem is, are you gonna go for a bunker out front, right? Like, are you gonna go... That's what we've been seeing quite a bit. Where's GuMiho gonna position that bunker? If he puts it out front... Okay, he does not. I think the Zerglings would be able to get an easy snipe on that, and that's what that Overlord is probably looking out for as well. Anyways, roaches here are running across the map. Lynx are still waiting as well on the left side, waiting for their cue to go in from the left side on the stage. There you go. They will scout that indeed there are a bunch of Marines available. The Lynx hiding on the left side of the map really is a bit confusing to me, but anyways, the Reapers are doing an excellent job just delaying this attack by whatever means necessary. Usually you only really have gas for one Ravager. Usually the next 100 gas here would go to Lynx speed. So this roach being this hurt, okay, yeah, it's apparently gonna delay Lynx speed instead. But it certainly forced Dark right there to make a decision. And at this point, I mean, the Reapers have done a plenty good job for even, well, 2 bunkers right now to finish up. Okay, Dark playing some rock, paper, scissors here. But I don't see how this is gonna work out. I mean, Lynx are not gonna have their speed upgrade anytime soon. I guess that's one way to bring the bunkers to the front, yeah. I always think about putting the bunkers further forward, but apparently you can also just fly the barracks over them. Fair enough. Yeah, you need to go a little bit further back. Okay. Cyclone coming up, by the way, inside of the main base. Not a unit that GuMiho really wants to be making at this point. Reapers in the meantime, okay. All the way back on the side of the Zerg. That is a lovely grenade. Now these drones are going to be in a bit of trouble. Lynx speed does start up eventually. This is a path for him to escape if he wants it. Doesn't even really need it. Getting the 3rd hatchery tonight here would be huge, though. Lovely early game right here for Gumi. Okay. Even though Dark is playing a very tricksy game, right? He's trying to pull like 17 tricks on his opponents. Doesn't really work out in this one. To be fair, GuMiho has had a lot of practice playing against these sort of strategies from Dark. Alright, 3rd CC fires up. Cyclone followed up right here as well with a siege tank. And now we're going to go into the double engineering bay. So the main thing we don't want to lose here would be a tech lab, and that's, I guess, why that barracks has flown all the way back into the main base. Unlike that previous game where there was a link flood on the back of it, this time around, at the very least, Stimpack wouldn't go down, although there's no ramp here preventing links from just flying straight into the main. Either way, we're going to follow this up right now with barracks 3, 4, and 5 after the 3rd command center. So all of the timings right here from Terran are going to be out of whack as well, though. Normally you'd have, okay, Stimpack finish up right about right now. But in this game, because of all of this early game aggression, none of that really happened. And now it becomes a bit of a guessing game, right? Especially for the Zerg, though. Like, this is why these early games oftentimes confuse me a bit from Dark. Because, yeah, best case scenario, you lose, you know, as a Terran player, you lose the game right at the start. So Zerg obtains the victory. That's the best game scenario, or best case scenario here for Dark. But normally, right, Zerg players have a certain number of drones in mind that they can get away with before they start making army. So say, for example, you know, okay, I'm going up against this many SCVs from the Terran. That means I need to saturate my 3rd base at this point, because if I don't, I, well, will not have enough units done. So they will have a timing in their heads that they shall use to decide when to make units again rather than just economy. But at this point, obviously, with all of those timings out of the window, it's very difficult for Dark to decide, okay, when do I start making army and when do I stop droning? So it becomes a feeling-based game. Overlords, by the way, were marching over the, well, entirety of the map pretty much, but now they decide to fly back home, which, again, a little interesting here. Maybe it's because Dark originally thought that this was going to be a Hellion follow-up or something like that, which is when those, yeah, Overlords flying a little bit ahead of all the creep tumors can be very helpful, but in this particular instance, none of that is happening as we have GuMiho just transitioning towards mass marine production. Alright, road speed together with 1-1. Stimpack is done, combat shields on the back of this, and you can see that these upgrades here are nice and quickly here for GuMiho. Armory here in the back as well will ensure that he can go straight into the +2/+2 upgrade. Nicely done. Now, I should fire it up pretty much immediately as well. It's expensive, but in a game like this, since you don't really have a timing here as a Terran, since you don't really have that tempo advantage either, I really think you should fire up 2-2 right now. Oh, he fired up 2 medevacs. Oh, he's got them selected right now, though. Yeah, just getting them started as early as possible. Don't forget about them. Very critical. Okay, there we go. Yep. So this will ensure that he will continuously have an upgrade lead. Obviously, you know, not when Zerg actually finishes up their 1-1, but especially when, you know, the periods in between, for like 45 seconds or so in between, GuMiho's units will be more powerful. And maybe the 1-1 timing attack here is not particularly successful, although he's gonna try, see if maybe he can get some work done. The 2-2 is usually a maxed out attack. That being said though, Dark is already ready to go. He's got a dinner date, okay? He needs to get out of here as quickly as possible. Maybe his early game aggression failed, but we're gonna go for, well, some mid-game aggression right now. Tunneling Claws together with Burrow, together with a Nidus network. I don't see where the Nidus is gonna pop up, because there's already a depot over here. Yeah, there's plenty of vision, there's mostly vision around the main base here for the Terran. +2/+2 starts up pretty much right away as well for Dark, so now you guess, yeah, you can really visualize the differences right here in these upgrades. But anyways, GuMiho is gonna continue roaming the map. We'll probably see a 4th command center as well pretty soon. Otherwise, I think we would have already seen barracks number 6, 7, and 8. 2nd factory coming up right now. Little bit of a group of roaches here, ready to, I guess, tunnel on the ground and maybe get into the bases. Still though, yeah, this stim straight up towards the high ground. Lovely work here from GuMiho, getting into a incredible position here. This is not going to be easy for the Zerg player to break. It's just roaches and ravagers at this point, and Marines do just fine. Here's a bunch of those roaches though, being annoying. They're going to try and see if they can get into the main base. Siege tank in the back, still getting a lot of damage in. Maybe the reinforcing Zerg units though eventually will make this a whole lot easier. Siege tank goes down at the same time. Those roaches pop their ugly heads out in the natural expansion of the Terran. This is something Terran players barely ever play against, and in a game like this, 3rd hatchery, by the way, did get sniped, but in a game like this, it is very easy to forget some of the basics, right? Like, for example, having a missile turret in every base. What are the odds anyways of Dark going for mutas in a game like this? Basically 0. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, missile turrets are easily forgotten here, but it turns out they still form a function as a detector as well. So the 3rd hatchery falls, but at the same time Dark also kills a lot of SCVs. So I'm not exactly sure who comes out ahead here. Here's the Zerg counterattack. +2/+2 at this point is done for our Terran though, so suddenly these units with the gun, they are quite a bit more powerful. Dark is gonna finish up his own 2-2 here. That Nidus worm hasn't really done much yet, but now there's a worm inside of the main base. Immediately roaches are popping out. There were definitely units in the main base to be annoying. He once again tunnels the roaches underground. That is so funny. Tunneling clawed roaches, send in through a worm. Okay, they're gonna sit outside the circle. Okay. Forcing this many scans may honestly already justify this. Now, here's that infestation pit, right? That's what Dark really loves to go for. Whenever he's in a weird spot and he doesn't feel very comfortable, infestation pit, always a good choice. Okay, so we're double expanding right now. 5th base and 3rd base. 3rd base 2.0, I guess, being remade here. Actually, I don't know. No, he was originally planning to take this base, but I think he took that one later, right? I was trying to think right there which one his 3rd base was and which one his 4th base was. It doesn't really matter here very much. This roach just barely trying to find a spot. It's not going to happen. Roach is in the main base though, still hunting down SCVs, and despite the fact that Tunneling Claws is not a popular upgrade at all, outside of like Zerg versus Zerg, we see it quite a bit in that matchup. Dark is getting a lot of value out of it. Okay. So, eventually all those units do get cleaned up. Marine drop over here on the right side of the map. Okay, forcing at least all those drones away for a moment. Here's the pathogen glands though. I've casted quite a few of Dark's late games lately, and what he seems to be a big fan of right now is mass infester. Just as many infestors as he can afford. Hydra then starts up together with the Hive. +3/+3 done in about a minute here for Gumi, so he's gonna have a huge advantage. Catching this as well in the middle of the map is tremendous. A little bit of luck is needed sometimes, but GuMiho does grab a bunch of those units before they can, well, run away. I don't think there are any of them are gonna run away, so nice cleanup right there by Gumi. There's a fight over here at the front as well, though. No fungals available just yet, right? So infestors are coming right now. They will spawn with enough energy for, well, a fungal growth. And that's gonna be very helpful. Yep, here we go. Pathogen glands is good specifically because of that. The infestors spawn with more energy and therefore they have a fungal available right away. There's the Lurker then, started up as well. So Dark trying to slow down this game. Infestors from the high ground. Okay, he does see them. He does see them. GuMiho, oh, you saw them coming in from a mile away. That is very painful. Oh, he walks into the biles there as well. A roach over there tunneled apparently right next to the siege tank and then popped out of the ground. That forces all those other tanks to do friendly fire. Yeah. Okay, so that's what he's trying to do here. I love this little move, right? It's not like GuMiho has got mass command center. Okay, that's a bit early. It's not like he's got mass command center available here to just, well, scan continuously. And as we all know, Terran players are allergic to ravens. They don't make ravens. It's not even a real unit. Okay. So one move that is always scary for Terran players when they're going up against Zerg, even though they may be in a good position, is Nidus with lurkers in the main base. 8 lurkers in the main base is incredibly hard to clean up, and there's definitely a moment here where Dark can create chaos. Now I've got a feeling that holding onto this base is going to be hard. Infestors do have some energy still available, but good targeting right there by Gumi. Roaches in the meantime trying to clean up a bunch of those marines and siege tanks that are reinforcing this, fair enough. But this hatchery, if it was the 3rd or the 4th, I don't remember exactly, but it ends up going down. One of the reasons why we see this base taken very frequently these days in this particular matchup. Roaches also heal up very quickly, by the way, while they are underground. Dark wants to go into lurkers, but he doesn't really have the time and the resources to transition into it. He really needs to get those upgrades done anyways, because, well, without the hive tech upgrades, the lurkers really aren't nearly as scary against especially a big group of siege tanks. So 9 tanks here coming up in total by Gumi, and he's got even more on the production tab. Now finally do we have the 4th command center, but that's of course because he's been prioritizing unit production. Good dodge right over there on that bile, but Zerg is coming in from every side right now, and Dark is looking to clean this up despite the way that this game has been going, and I really feel like he's been up with his back against the wall for ages. He does clean up this force once again. Now he's going slowly into the lurkers though, but GuMiho is not about to let go of the gas. He is ready to continue this aggression for even more time. Corrosive Biles there, not connecting with the siege tank. This hatchery ends up going down. Beautiful game right there by Gumi. Other than maybe that big fungal growth, I don't think that one was particularly necessary, but beautiful game right here by the Terran, as he does get a point on the board. Alrighty. That takes us to Neo-Humanity, the final game in today's Best-of-3 series. Dark allowing both Neo-Humanity as well as Gresvan in a Best-of-3. Interesting. Okay, are we gonna go for a pool first once again? Because it does look like GuMiho is once again... No, not this guy. Okay, not this time around. It does look like GuMiho is once again gonna go for the double barracks over here at the front, although could just be a single barracks. It sort of depends on what he is planning as far as the follow-up goes. But I've got a feeling, yeah, that this makes the most sense, especially with the single gas going down right now. We'll be seeing... Okay, I have a little bit of space over here, I guess, for add-ons. We'll be seeing 3 Reapers roaming the map here very soon once again. Okay, so this is what GuMiho actually wants to be playing against, right? Like the previous games, sure, they went pretty well for him overall. I mean, losing that Stimpak in game number 1 kind of sucked, but other than that, the games did look pretty solid. I think playing against the hatchery first feels a whole lot more comfortable, because then you don't have to play that strategy game so much, right? Like, you know, okay, there's definitely not going to be Lings out at this point in the game. The only Zerglings that can be out at this point are on the side of the Zerg, so... As long as I see that, and as long as I know that, life is gonna be a-okay. So, interesting here as well to see GuMiho, though, go for the same double barracks opener here, 3 games in a row. Yeah. I feel like Björn is just slowly corrupting all of the Korean Terrans. It doesn't seem to be a very popular build outside of Korea, though, which is interesting, right? We haven't really seen this so much on the American and the European servers, but apparently this is what all the cool kids in Korea are currently playing. Okay. Command center on the back of this. No second gas yet. So GuMiho just producing a bunch of Reapers and then going into that marine production. No CC first or anything this time around either, right, from GuMiho in this series. He's been playing quite a bit of that as well, especially when you're going up against Dark. I think that's a good option. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm saying that out loud, I think the last few times I've seen GuMiho face off against Dark, he did go for a command center first in game 1 of the series. So maybe that's why Dark decided to go for the 16 pool. Maybe he assumed, well, maybe even twice in a row, that his opponent would be going for a command center first. Maybe that's why now he's decided, okay, I guess it's not really worth it anymore. That actually explains a whole lot more. Yeah. Good conversation with yourself, Lowko. Well done. You thought this was a monologue? No. Turns out I have multiple personalities. An analytical caster and a play-by-play commentator. Okay, Queen getting a little bit of a boop forward right there by the Reapers, but he saw that in time. Third barracks coming up inside of the main base. Double gas as well. Stimpec. I never liked this opener very much in these spawn locations. And I've mentioned this before, but if you spawn on the other side of the map, right? So those add-ons always spawn on the right side of the Terran structures. If these barracks would be up over here, then the tech labs and the reactors would not be nearly as exposed. So in this particular instance, this is so easy to kill. I actually think just going for an attack just to justify killing, or sorry, just to kill the tech lab over here and the add-ons in general, it already justifies most of the aggression. I mean, you could see the follow-up right there in game 1 from Gumi. He just didn't have stuff. He just didn't have units. Without Stimpec, this army just, like, your most pivotal upgrade, your biggest power spike, is in the most exposed location possible. That's the main weakness, I think, of a lot of these builds. But anyways, Dark decides to go for a Roach Warren once again. Will he add on extra gases? I think if he adds on extra gases, that basically always means he wants to go for additional aggression, but nah, not going to be the case. I've just noticed, by the way, on this map for the very first time, and maybe this is something that everybody's already seen, but the Vespene geysers over here are a different graphic than the one right over here. In my defense, I've only played like 100 games on this map, and I've only casted probably more than that. Interesting. Yeah. Actually, a different color as well for the one in the main base. Whoa. So these are Protal Sea extractors. These are just craters on the map, whatever they are. What about the ones in the middle? So this is the rich Vespene geyser, fair enough. More of the dark colored ones. Oh. Sorry, I know there's a game going on right now at the same time, but got a feeling that these roaches over here are mostly defensively. Or they're gonna be used mostly defensively right here. They're mostly defensive. There you go, Lowko. Words have meaning. You can't just add ly to the end of every word and then, you know, sound fancy. Sound fancily. Sorry. No, it doesn't work like that. Lair coming up right here. Roach Warren, of course, very helpful for just defending. I'm never a huge fan of seeing roaches for defense, but it seems like a lot of Zergs have been enjoying this style quite a bit. Medevacts do come up, by the way, on the back of this. Bit of a supply block right here for Gumi. That's a bit frustrating. Burrow, by the way, being rushed out here. I almost feel like that's a misclick, but that's a very quick burrow, considering the game. I'm not exactly sure what Dark is gonna do with that, but maybe he can, like, I don't know, sit here and create an ambush. Maybe he can deny his opponent's third base if he burrows Zerglings in those locations in time. Anyways, here comes our Terran player, and he's got a scary amount of units. Those Reapers from the early game still available. 33 Marines out in total in this map already, and that actually does allow a lot of pressure. There's not enough, of course, for this Terran player to lift up and get on out of here, right? So nice dancing back and forth here by Dark. Yeah, in the end, he actually holds that perfectly. Okay. I was a little bit concerned there, but just a good old Marine timing attack and not getting much done. Now, there's two more Medevacts. One of them has a siege tank in it, the other one has one Marine. This guy is probably the commanding officer of this party. Getting a private plane. Not having to share it with the troops is kind of nice. Same for this lad over here. That's one of the Reapers. Apparently there is some sort of prestige in GuMiho's army. You love to see it. Unit veterancy over here. Getting the kill on this base would actually be massive, but I don't think there's quite enough. So he does have Burrow, by the way. Yeah, he does have Burrow, but he hasn't used it. Oh, Queen's in the main base, waiting for this drop to come in, but this is gonna get pushed back. Okay. So now Dark decides, okay, I'm gonna go into the melee upgrades together with the Carapace research. So, oh, he's just popping the units underground whenever they're taking damage? Is that the plan? Just trying to keep these units alive for as long as possible? Fair enough. Bailing Nest coming up as well. Yeah, so are these roaches really worthwhile in the earlier stages of this game? Couldn't he have just gone for faster upgrades and just skipped the roach tech entirely? I honestly feel like he could have, but maybe it's because Terran mech is still an option, even when you know this doom drop is insane. I was gonna say, there's no way. Okay. Siege tank, trying to get into a position here. If you siege it up, you obviously can't actually pick it up with the medevac anymore. I don't like this very much by Gumi, to be honest. GuMiho is playing like he's got a ton of money, but his third command center is actually very late for modern standards. Like, his upgrades are pretty fast, his unit composition's pretty good, but empty medevac over here. So you gotta boost it forward? You should boost it into the main base. Aww, okay. We're just scouting here. He's just checking the drone count. Yep, we're gonna be flying it back home. Armory a little bit late, so we can't go straight into 2-2, and that is going to suck a little bit. I don't know. I am not sold on this double barracks start from Terran at the front. I don't know. It doesn't strike me as a very confident build, if that makes any sense. I think it's probably good right now, and we'll probably see it. Did he just go double Ghost Academy right there? This Ghost Academy, I was going to talk about that next. Anyways, I've got a feeling that this is a build, the double barrack start, that we're going to see for a few months, and then it'll probably fade into obscurity, and Terran players were like, okay, what were we thinking back then? This build doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem particularly good. It becomes a very predictable follow-up, and while there are, yeah, some moves that you can make, like for example that quick benchy that we've seen in a previous series, that actually did catch Dark off guard, it makes it all very predictable, and it's not like your economy is particularly great either, so there's not a whole lot of parts here that I like about this build, other than, you know, novelty. I guess the fact that Zergs haven't seen it all too much makes it strong, but that's mostly because the Zergs didn't really know exactly how to respond against it. But even though I don't know if Dark's response here is perfect with the roaches and whatnot first, he doesn't really seem to be bothered here too much by this early game shenanigans from the Terran. Anyhow, Ghost Academy. I was talking about that a little bit ago already. Normally, we don't see a Ghost Academy until about 4 base economy in Terran versus Zerg. In Terran versus Protoss, they'd be coming out right now. I think the reason, though, why we're seeing it here for Gumi is because we do find ourselves on Neo-Humanity, and this map is amazing for sitting back and attacking. Well, later on into the game. Not right now. I actually don't think I like this push here. If he attacks right now, he's going to be pushing into a Zerg who's just maxing out. There's a lot of Banelings available. Does he have the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade? He sure does. This push is scary, but I don't think you want to push here. I really think you want to be... Like, if you want to play that turtle mech style that we've, for example, seen TY play recently in that Terran versus Terran from the GSL, I've got a feeling what he wants to do is play this a lot slower. Unless we're just doing this to try and create like an overreaction from the Zerg, I wouldn't mind it, but we really do need planetary over here in the middle of the map if you want to get much done. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go and take the base over here on the left side first. Already, though, you can see a beeline right here made by Dark straight across the map. Seeing these command centers over here, he's gonna scout the command center over here as well. It's blocked. GuMiho is not gonna be able to get it done. Snipes over here on a Ravager, not going to happen. Okay. I was getting a little concerned. I thought GuMiho was just gonna push straight through the center of the map. I really don't think he should be out here. I don't like this position for him. Like, isn't he just gonna get overwhelmed here at some point? So 2-2 is finishing up here for the Terran, or for the Zerg rather. It was already done for Terran a little while ago. This would be the moment. If Dark wants to collapse on top of this, this would be the moment. Yeah, blinding clouds go down. What in the world is this army still doing out here? Yeah, maybe he thought this was the parking lot of Neo-Humanity. He's like, oh, I guess this is where I park my cars. But it doesn't seem like... Okay, yeah, that's just it. It doesn't seem like that was a particularly good position to be in. Little confused right here by GuMiho's playstyle in his final game in particular. So he was setting himself up for aggression, but that didn't go for aggression. And he's like, okay, I kind of want to play the turtle style, but then he didn't really play the turtle style. And then he was like, okay, I'm going to make mass command center, but he was very late on the command centers. It's all a little bit disjointed. Dark only needs one opportunity. And while this was by no means the cleanest game he's ever played, it is the Dark we all know and love. He does end up obtaining the victory 2-1 over Gumi.